This video will help you work with invoices in Kanak Books. It will show you how to create or update invoices, bills of supply, debit notes, and perform different actions on it. Select the Invoices option from the drawer to move to its list view. Click on New Invoice button to move to the invoice form. Fill in the mandatory fields highlighted in red. You can add items from the item table and the total values will be displayed to the bottom of the table. Hit the Save as Draft button to save the invoice. The split screen shows the newly created invoice and its details. Click the Edit icon to open the invoice for editing. Make any changes and hit the Save button to update the invoice. Click the More icon from the top right corner and select Mark as Sent option to mark the invoice as sent. The available credits will be shown below. Click the Apply Now button to open the dialog for applying credits on the invoice. Enter the amount to credit and hit the Save button to apply the credits. Open the Payments Received panel to view the newly applied credit, since the credited amount is from an advance payment. You can see that the status has now changed to partially paid. Now apply the remaining credits to the invoice as there is still some credits available. Now you can see that the status changed to paid. Click the down arrow near the Journals tab to view the journal entries. Click the payment number to move to the payment split screen. Click the down arrow to display the journal entries for the payment received. Click the Invoices Applied tab to view the invoices for which the advance payment was applied. Click the invoice number to view its details. Now, let's open another invoice for editing and make some updates. Hit the Save and Send button. A pop-up will be displayed warning that the stock for the inventory will drop below zero. Hit the OK button to proceed. The user will then be taken to the email editor screen. The details of the invoice will be auto-populated in the editor. When you try to mark the invoice as void from draft state, an error will be displayed. Click the PDF icon to download the invoice as a PDF. This will open the document in a new tab. Click the Print icon to open the document for printing in the current tab. Click the Mail icon to quickly move to the email editor screen. Click the Share icon and select Via Public Link option to get a publicly accessible link for the invoice. Click the Generate Link button to get the public link. You can try copying the link from the text box and pasting in a new tab to see if it works. Select Via WhatsApp option to share the invoice via WhatsApp. The invoice will be shared to the customer's mobile number if it exists. You may edit the message body if needed. Select Mark as Void option to mark the invoice as void. When in void state, select Mark as Draft option to change the status to draft. Select the Delete option and then confirm the corresponding dialog to delete the invoice. Now open another invoice and select Clone option to create a copy of it. This will take you to the invoice form with fields pre-filled with that of the cloned invoice. Hit the Save button to create the clone. When in sent state, select Write-off option to open the dialog for write-off. Provide a reason and hit the Save button to write the invoice off. When the invoice is written off, select Cancel Write-off option to cancel it. Select Record Payment option to quickly add payment for the invoice. The Amount Received field will be pre-filled with the invoice amount. Hit the Save button to record the payment. The status of the invoice changes to Paid. Open the Payments Received panel to view the payment. Click the payment number to view the details of the payment. Click the Invoices Applied tab to view the associated invoices. Now let's go back to the invoice split screen and make a clone of the invoice. While in sent state, select Create Credit Note option to make a credit note from the invoice. This will take you to the credit note form with some details auto-filled. The invoice number is selected by default. Select a reason for creating the credit note. Hit the Save as Draft button to save the credit note as draft. Now, mark the credit note as open. Select the invoice number given below to view the details of the associated invoice. When you click the Apply Now button, you will see the amount from the recently created credit note listed in the table. Click the credit note number and confirm the pop-up to view its details. Now let's create another clone of the invoice and mark it as sent. Select Create Debit Note option to create a debit note from the invoice. This will take you to the debit note form. The invoice number is selected by default. Provide a reason and fill the other mandatory fields. Hit Save as Draft button to save the debit note. Mark the debit note as sent. You can view the journal entries for the debit note in the bottom. Now move back to the split screen of the associated invoice. Expand the debit notes panel to view the debit notes created against the invoice. You may also use the plus icon in the left-hand side to move to a new invoice form. When you are in the list view, click the down arrow to the right of the New Invoice button to display more options. Select New Bill of Supply option to move to a new bill of supply form. Fill the mandatory fields and hit the Save as Draft button to save the bill of supply. With bill of supply, you can perform similar actions as for an invoice. Select the New Debit Note option from the list view to quickly move to a new debit note form. Select the invoice number from the list and fill the mandatory fields. The item table for debit note is different. You can only provide descriptions. The rate also needs to be provided explicitly. Hit the Save as Draft button to save the debit note. The associated invoice number is displayed in the screen. You may also create a bill of supply or debit note by clicking down arrow provided in the left. While in list view, use the filter menu on the left-hand side to filter the invoices by different status. Click the gear icon and select Export Invoices option to export the invoices in CSV format. Click the Here link to download file to your machine. The same steps can be followed to export debit notes. Select Import Invoices or Import Debit Notes option to open the respective import screen. Click the Preferences option from the drop-down to move to the Invoice Preferences screen.